Yeah. It says we're live. Welcome. Welcome to Biz with Joy. Leaders leaving legacies. And tonight I have a featured guest speaker who's going to absolutely blow you away with the wisdom that she brings to all of us. Christy Karate is all about mastering the art of self because we are our own masterpiece. Now, I could go on and on and on and share with you what she's about, but I'm going to bring her up in a second. I am Joy Ruffen. I am your style and leadership coach, executive producer, TV host, and podcaster. My work is as a signature style specialist. I secure for women that amped up wow feeling. Whoa, they know they have it and they are empowered with themselves and sharing that wisdom with others. But tonight, let's talk to Christy. I want to bring her up and I want you to say hello and welcome because what she's about, Christy, your work absolutely blows me away. Say hello to the audience and welcome.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here, and I love sharing my masterpiece with you tonight. So, yay.
Yay is right. One of my favorite expressions. You know what? Each one of us has a masterpiece within us. Well, Christy, when I read that, I said, wow, that's my feeling. I use it in different verbiage, but it's the same thing. I see beauty everywhere, even when the person can't see it themselves. So, how did you come to this, a masterpiece within each and every one of us? What brought you to that realization? And
Well,
welcome.
thank you. So, first of all, I've been an artist my whole life, and I have been creating and making and designing and making things happen my whole life. And when I became a young adult, I started working with teenagers and then also with adults. And I realized the similarities of art and self-development, self-discovery, self-empowerment. And so I started using the model of art to help people understand, maybe in a more simplistic way, how to create their life as a masterpiece.
Brilliant. Absolutely wonderful. I get it. I received everything that you shared, and especially the dynamics between working with young people and then the similarities between those who've had more life experiences. Because what you say here, it resonated with me. It resonated beyond words. It said it is our privilege and our responsibility to bring that masterpiece into the world. And the sooner we're able to start that journey, because Christy, it is a journey, right? Yes or no? It's a
Yes, I
journey.
am. And a fun journey to be on. It's not about the destination as much as about enjoy the journey.
Well, now you really getting to favorite words of mine because fun, if there's no fun involved, what's the sense in doing it? And this is what you bring into the fore because you're saying that all the circumstances and conditions that we're all surrounded with in our upbringing and environment, they're there. They're there for us to master. And
Mhm.
so share with us a little bit more about that because find that so powerful. Christy, it's really powerful.
Thank you. So, one of the things that is so important to understand in life is that we can't solve our problems at the level they were created. And so, when we go in and try to create a new life, a new experience, a new discovery at the level of our current conditions and circumstances, we're not going to get anything more than that circumstance. And so, what I do and what I found in my life, and I know is absolutely true, is I teach people universal principles, universal laws to create the foundation of what they want to create in their lives. It's, like the old sand story and rock story. Do you want to build your house on the rocks or on the sand?
Yes.
And if you try to fix things at the circumstantial level, that's always rocky, right? If you build it on the rock, the universal principles, the absolute truth that's true for everybody, no matter what, you've got a good start, a good foundation.
A good foundation. And you spoke that where it has to resonate with clarity because that's exactly what you deliver. And when you speak to universal law and you speak to the foundation of truth, that truth is where you gave us a wee bit of insight before. That's the truth of who are you?
Mhm.
Who are you here to be? What are you here to do? How are you here to serve others? What brought you to this realization? What gave you the the seed, the impetus to want to be able to do this? Share with
Well,
us a little bit about you.
I've first of all, it's all the times that I failed. One of my mentors always said she has two black belts, one in success and one in failure, right? And looking at all of the times that I maybe tripped and fell flat on my face, but what did I have there to pick me up was truth, universal truth. Now, I had a grandmother, fortunately, that knew these types of things since I was young. And I grew up with this understanding. And it wasn't really until I got into elementary school, middle school, that I started realizing people thought very differently. And I kind of got it knocked out of me, and then through high school and college. And it took me a while to get back to remembering it. But it is our nature. If we are made in the image and the likeness of the divine or God or whatever word you use, then we have to be that same equivalency. And so anything unlike that is when we are not remembering that truth about ourselves. So when you feel stuck or when you struggle, that's an indication, oh, I'm forgetting who I am.
And Christy, you mentioned something that for me is major, and I'd love for you to speak a wee bit about that because you mentioned how you were absolutely embraced by your grandmother. I cannot tell you the number of men and women that I speak to who are enamored with their grandmother, their grandparents, their mother, their parents, someone who
Mhm.
was able to see them, truly see them, and allow them to rise and to become all that they're here to be. So that upbringing, that home training, and all that other stuff, that's major. How did you, how were you able with your grandmother to know that there was more for you?
Well, she took me everywhere with her when I was young. So I started going to these conferences and seminars, and I heard this languaging. I heard this wording and beliefs that really brought me alive, even as a child. Even though some of it I didn't understand the lingo, but I felt it. I knew it. I knew that I was divine. I was of the divine. I had the potential of the divine. And it was from that experience of, I don't know if you know who Peace Pilgrim is, but she walked for peace back in the 60s. She used to walk from here in the Bay Area up to our home in Oregon and stayed with us when we lived in Oregon. And then there was Catherine Kuhlman, and I used to go sit in the living room with Catherine Kuhlman and hear these things that I didn't realize nobody else heard these thoughts, like I said, until I got into elementary school.
So,
So
what I'm hearing, Christy, and please let me know if I'm receiving it in the right way. Your environment was very, very impactful because it was very spiritual. And you had all of these people around you who were showing you, sharing with you, allowing you to see into other realms of being. Would that be correct?
Well, my grandmother did, but my family actually kind of thought of my grandmother as a kook. you know? And it did affect me a little bit when I got older. It really affected me because I didn't want to be a kook. I loved my grandmother. I loved her wisdom and knowledge, but the way even her own family perceived her, they all loved her, but she was the kook. I loved her and knew she was the truth.
That is amazing in so many ways because the people who are on the spiritual path and have a different sense of awareness about today and where we're all, why we're all here, what we're supposed to do, and all of that, most of them are from that spiritual realm, and either they were embraced or not. And for me, it was a combination as well. So I hear what you're saying loud and clear. Let me ask you this, because what you just shared with us is very powerful, very profound, really. How did and when did you become what I'm reading here? It says you are an intuitive artist and you have fully realized your life and why you're here. How does that work for you in working with other people? And share with us a little bit about what that really means.
So I call it my dirty little secret, actually, because I I've always been an artist, and I've always been helping people and wisdom and bringing wisdom to people. And so so much of my life, actually up until the beginning of the pandemic, it's been kind of a dual life. I help people discover what their masterpiece is, and I'm like, hello, Christy, you've got to bring this all together to become your masterpiece. I knew it wasn't complete. And so at the beginning of the pandemic, I said, I'm going to finally figure out the one primary purpose that I have on this world. You know, Rumi said, if you come here and don't do what you came here to do, it's as if you did nothing at all. And so I needed to bring that together for me. And so in the beginning of the pandemic, I went into deep 3-day ceremony with a coach to guide me. Yeah. And I had major realization from that experience. And that brought me to that is my masterpiece, the intuitive wisdom drawings, and also guiding people on travel programs and wherever they can find their true self, their true destiny.
Christy, I heard a couple of things there that really are, it needs to be said over again for those who are really tuning in and taking in this brilliance, the message that you're delivering to all of us, which is coming from the soul, the core of you. You said that, Rooney said that, say that again, because I want people to really hear that. And I wonder myself, I've heard that and I've forgotten that, but say that again.
If you come into this world and don't do what you were meant to do, it's as if you did nothing at all.
Yes.
And that's why it's important to find our masterpiece that we came here to give.
Absolutely. I so believe in that. And I know now, I know that you work with both men and women and everyone, but I'm saying for you and for everyone who's tuning in, it's time for women now. That's not negating or denigrating or putting men on the back burner, because there's true equality really in the makings now. And women will be the ones who put that into force. But if you don't do and you're not doing what you're sent here to do, what your assignment is here, then that just means that we keep coming again. Well, we do anyway, again and again and again. That's very, very profound. And the other thing that you said is that you realize, what was the second half of that? You might not remember. But you said that you realized
that I was on
during the pandemic.
Yes.
Here's what you said, and I tune in, I listen, things come in and out. But what you said, Christy, I want it to be repeated, because during this pandemic, which has put all of us in quarantine, lockdown, and we've been sequestered in so many different ways, we have had to probe and go deep inside, right? And what you're saying is you went deeper than most people to rediscover or to expound what was innately within you. That's what I wanted you to speak a wee bit about, because this pandemic is making most people who are in leadership and want to be impactful in others' lives, that's positive. That's what we've done, all of us. So share a little bit about that, how the pandemic gave you that.
Well, when we hit in the 1920s, when there was the crash of the economy, actually more millionaires were made in that time than any other time in history, even to date. That's true, because they're innovators. They're like, they don't lay down and say, oh, well, I'm doomed, or give it to me, or whatever. They say, wow, here's an opportunity. So I said, oh, great. I have 3 months, right? We all thought it was going to be 3 months.
Yes.
I'm going to take 3 months and I'm going to do 3 things. Number 1, I'm going to write my book, which I did. Number 2, I'm going to discover and bring together my fully blossomed masterpiece. And 3, I'm going to learn to play the didgeridoo.
I want to know what the didgeridoo is. Please tell us.
It's an Australian instrument. And the secret to it is blowing and then doing the circular breathing. Now, I can breathe into it, but I haven't mastered the circular breathing. And I joke with people and say, as soon as I learn that, the pandemic's going to be over.
Hi, Christy, you're cracking me up. I never heard that, but you'll have to tell me more. Let me do this because I want to come back and talk about quite a few things that you mentioned. And I want to leave you with this to be thinking about. I'm going to take a quick break and announce a few things, and then I'm going to come back. And I want us to talk about what you mentioned about the pandemic, 3 months. That's what we were all hoping for. It's almost like 2 years plus. And now I want to talk about your book. And I want to hear more about the didgeridoo or Australia, whatever it was. I don't get it. But hold tight. I'm going to put you in the green room. You have to be as quiet as a church mouse, and I'll be back with you in just a second. I love this. I want to talk about your books, and I want to expound more on what you thought, what we all thought was going to be 3 months. Okay? I'll be back in a second. Sure. Now, here's what I want to share with you. What you're hearing here tonight, mastering the art of life, there's so much more to share with you. Christy is just so full of pearls of wisdom, and I want you to get to know her and connect with her, and I'm going to be running across all of her data. But I also want to invite you to a master class that I'm having on May the 26th. And I want you to go to my Facebook business page, and once you get there, I want you to be able to go to the event, and I'm looking for what I want to show you. And this is what I want to show you. Go there to the events and register for this event. It's complimentary. And we're going to talk a lot about you, me, all of us. And somewhat we'll talk a little bit about what Christy spoke to in the end, what she thought was what we all was hoping was going to be only 3 months. I'm going to be talking about so many of us. We wear too much, we wear too little, it's too tight, it's too baggy, and all of it's just not working for us. And I'm going to give you clues about who are you and what works best for you. And this masterclass on the 26th of May will be awesome. And I would love to see you there. And the other thing too is I want you to go and join my Facebook group, Leading Ladies, Leaving Legacies, because there you're going to find that one of the things that we're going to do, I can never find my link when I want it, but that's okay. It'll show up. What I want you to do is go and join this group. Because if you're not a member already, you belong there, because we are going to be talking about a lot of everything that has to do with the empowerment of women. I advocate and I champion women, especially women who are second act, second chapter, midlife. And I do mean regardless of age. And this is one of the reasons I connected with Christy, because the work that she's doing is phenomenal in so many ways. And I'm asking you in love, please, to connect with her. And I'm going to go back and come back to you now, Christy, because I want to find out from you. And I love the way you allowed me to end here. Most of us thought this pandemic was going to be for a short time. At least we were, as my momsy would say, we were praying so. But here we're going into a little bit, almost 2 years here now, over. So share with us how you were able to go and probe and go deeper. And I think you said you wrote your book at that time. Am I correct on that? So yes. Tell us about the book. I love the book's title, Beyond the Box.
Yes.
Beyond the Box.
Right here, Beyond the Box, Creative Thinking Expanded. And so I did start out in 3 months. And, again, the universe just gave me the extra little time that I needed to do it. But I want to say that, so Beyond the Box, Creative Thinking Expanded is thinking thoughts you have never thought before. Thinking in a way you have never thought before. Because 90% of our thoughts are recycled. And yet here we have this opportunity to know and to create things that are out of this world. I have a solar system up on my ceiling here so that I remember, like, we live in this expanding universe. There's always more to live. So how can you think a thought that you never thought before? And the other thing that the book does, Beyond the Box, Creative Thinking Expanded, is it teaches about the universal laws, the universal principles that create the foundation, as I was mentioning before, of how you can stand firm on what you truly want to create and how to do that in a graceful way.
I don't know how you came to that title, but buzzwords come in and out and they're just buzzing around, and then they kind of into the stratosphere. And that's okay, because they leave us with that. And when the pandemic hit, what was a big word, Christy? It was pivot. Everybody was pivoting. What's pivot? It's changing from one something to another, right?
Yes.
And that's what we all did. And you were able, like me and so many others, to probe and go deep and define and discover what you're really here to do and how you must start the process of doing that. And the title, how did you come up with the title? Because the buzzword now is beyond.
Yeah.
Everything is beyond.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
people say out of the box all the time, out of the box. And I'm like, who wants a box anyway? This is beyond any normal everyday thinking. This is not even stepping outside of the box. It is launching yourself, creating your own container that you want to have to create something through you that's never been created before. It would come back to the Rumi statement, because if you just are repeating what somebody else has done, you're not living your masterpiece. We are all here to create something that's unique to us. That's why we're here.
boy, oh boy, you could repeat that again. I'm hoping that when you get this and you're able to utilize it, and for people who are tuning in and listening, that they will really get the nuances of what you're saying here. Because that title, Beyond the Box, is so powerful. And you're so right. Who wants to be out of the box? Say that again, because that was brilliant.
Who wants a box? I mean,
who wants a box? Yes.
Even if you have to step out of it, it means you got a box, right? Nope. Let's go beyond the box.
Beyond is the buzzword now. Yeah. What do you find the people who come to you who want to explore their spiritual side and discover for them what's best for them to do while here on this planet, here and now, whatever your beliefs or faith might be? What are some of the reasons or causes that people come to you for you to allow them to be able to see more and feel more than what they're feeling now?
Well, one of my favorite groups of people are what I call the ripe plums. And those are people who know that there's something juicy inside, but they just don't know how to find it or where to find it. They're just about to explode, but how do they find it? And those are my favorite clients that I work with. And it's just like, wow, and watch them burst and take off. Yeah,
juicy, burst and take off. Yes. What do you find? I like that description, because most people who are aware that they're not here just to exist, that there's a reason and a cause and a momentum that's meant for them and them only, they want to discover and explore and really earth that, have it ripen. So what is it that they feel that are some of the, and I know it's different for everyone. That's a uniqueness, because we're also, as much as we're also very much alike, we're also vastly different, and that's okay. But what's that underlying cause that, because they feel that they're missing something or they're beginning to see or feel, what would that be?
It's actually when they feel stuck. Most people come to me when they feel stuck. I don't know how to change my finances. I don't know how to change my health. I don't know how to change my time, money, freedom. One of my favorite things. You know, it's like I wanted to be creative in the world, and now I'm just working in a grocery store or at the bank or this or that. All well and good, and I'm paying my bills. But I know there's more to life. What is it? How do I get it? How do I find it? And even with our business people, they sometimes have these major blocks and they're from our subconscious. I know, this is a lot of words, but I want to show an image here.
Yes.
The iceberg, the tip of the iceberg, we live from that. And people think that's how and where they create their experience and what leads them. And yet what really leads them is when, dad did this, or in school they got that. And it lies under there in this big part of the iceberg, holding them back without them even knowing it. And I help them discover that.
Discovery is beautiful.
Yes.
When discovery blossoms in front of you and you feel it, there's nothing like. Let me speak to what you just said here, and we're going to end here, because you're going to come back and expand on everything that we talked about and share more about what you do, how you do, and how it serves others. But you mentioned, or I'm going to take it in another direction, people come to you because they're stuck. That's what I heard. And many and most of us get stuck at one point or some point in time. The vast difference is that those who are coming to you, Christy, they have been followers, and there's nothing wrong with being a follower. We all follow at some point in time, but they are ready to leap out and above and beyond
the box.
Beyond the box. Right, right, right. You got it. I don't have to say anything else. So that they can become the leaders that they're called here to be, because the universe is calling for leaders now, because followers need leaders. Doesn't mean that followers are any less than the leaders. And this is why I love the work that you're doing and how you're going about it. I tell you, the time flies here. I don't know where it goes, but it goes. And I love your example about the iceberg and the difference in people getting stuck in why they come to you and they know something's there and they feel it and they want to birth it. It's an embryo, so they want to birth that thing, and you help them to do that. Love that, Christy. Love you and the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Party now? By the way, you have a mastermind coming up. A mastermind coming up on May the 11th.
Yes.
And I didn't get the link for you here, but we can put it on after the fact. But what I want you to tell people a little bit about that before we go and close, because you'll be back. And this is the link, but they need a code. So.
And the code is biz2biz with the letter 2.
That's good.
Biz2biz. So if you go to this link right here, masteringtheartoflife.com/TMF, which stands for Time, Money, Freedom, Mastermind, you will actually come and get an experience to see something you're stuck in and how you can discover how to get out of that. See, I don't have anybody else's answers. I help them find their own answers.
That's a good way to end. There's nothing that's better than that. And I will make sure that this Biz to Biz 2 goes up after the fact, because I didn't put it here. But we're good. Christy, so long for now. Stay, hold tight. Don't worry. We're doing this 2 more times, and then we'll go from there. You are a pure delight. It's a pleasure. Put you in the green room. I'll be with you in a second. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
I love this. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Well, I get excited, but that's just my DNA. You can only help what you can help. What I want to mention to you is that I have a master class coming up on May the 26th. And what I want you to do is to go here and to register for this on my Facebook business page. And somewhere here, I had a link. There it goes. There it goes. I want you to just take a snapshot or screenshot of something of this and make sure that you go and register, because we're going to be talking about how you show up. Even though there are no rules anymore, head to toe, top to bottom, hair to shoes, it matters, especially if you're in leadership and you are a professional, even though the casual is in the norm now, that's okay. We're going to go deep and heavy on what's best for you and how you show up. In the meantime, please make sure that you connect with Christy, because her work is so powerful and so needed by all of us. And all of her information is scrolling through. Take a screenshot or a snapshot, or then go back to my business page, and it's everywhere on YouTube and LinkedIn and every place else. And make sure that you make note of when her mastermind will be on May the 11th, and then you can join her there. But she'll be back here on May the 10th. So we'll see you then. Until we meet again, you be and stay well. I'm always sending you only the very, very best and much love. Always good to be with you. So long for now. Cheers.